Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bob Waldron, and in this video we're going to be doing a new step-by-step video build of Tamiya's 1:35 scale M4A3E8 Sherman Easy 8 tank. Now I got inspired to make this tank because of that brand new film, the Fury, which was absolutely a cracking film, and it totally inspired me to go out and do my own little Sherman. Now this is a brand new kit for 2014 by Tamiya, but it is actually a rebox of Tasco. Sorry, I forgot the manufacturer, but you know, it's one of the best kits you can get for a Sherman in 1/35 scale, so should be nice and interesting. It's a little bit on the intermediate sort of advanced sort of side of things. It's going to be step by step, so we are going to be going from the beginning to the absolutely end, showing you step by step, each and every bit of the way, how to build this and all the techniques that comes with building armoured vehicles, from the actual building to the weathering to decaling, you know, you name it. We're also going to be having a nice look into doing some photo etch with this and doing some actual soldering with a soldering iron as well, to really you know, show you a bit more advanced stuff to do with photo etch, and maybe, you know, you do get some nice crew with this, so I might kind of do some crew paint, not crew, sorry, you get about 4 soldiers that come with it, and I'll probably maybe have a go at painting them as well. So let's get started with a nice inbox review, just to kind of show you what's actually in the kit, and then we'll get building this step by step. So it looks rather nice, typical kind of look for Tamiya. So let's just have a quick look in the box before I open everything up and whatnot. Let's just see how it all comes in the box. You get our instructions, which is rather nice. First sprue, track links, love them or hate them, and there's about what, I don't know, 6 sprues in there for one bag. We have one bag here, paper sort of, sorry, the packaging, I'd say it's like medium quality sort of paper, and we've got all sorts of bits and bobs going on in there. We've got again, 1 sprue, 1 bag, and this is the hull section, looking rather nice. Same with the turret section, separately bagged. We have some infantry here. These look rather cool, and we'll have a closer look at them in a bit. 2 little sprues in here in a separate bag, all sorts of just little tank stuff. We'll speed up a bit. We've got our wheels separately bagged, 2 sprues, 2 more sprues here, which just looks like different parts of the bottom hull, separately bagged. So the packaging is really really good here. Helmets, bits of infantry stuff, really cool. Bit of the front hull here, and the main gun and the gun mantlet separately bagged. Few hatches and stuff separately bagged again. Very good packaging. 3 sprues in here, which is loads and loads of wheel stuff, and I think that's like 3 of the same sprue. We also have a few other little bits and bobs just in there. We have our clear parts in here, and interestingly, it looks like maybe the commander's hatch. We've got a version of a clear part one, and say an all sort of green plastic one, so that'll be interesting to have a look at. We also then have separately bagged our bits of photo etch and the decals as well in the same bag, and then we have a few of these sort of rubbery things to have like wheels moving in that, and that is everything in the bag. So let's have a closer look. So let's get started with the instructions now. As usual, you get a nice little description, lots of different languages as well. Moving on, we've got some little tips and whatnot on there, but just watch this video, you should be fine. We've got 5 different markings to choose from. The construction side of things, the track links, they do look rather simple. It's just you got to do 77 track links per side, you know, so put on a bit of music in the background or something, and just, you know, it can be quite therapeutic just to kind of go through that. So it isn't that bad. It depends, you know, on who you are. Usual kind of setup with the whole drive wheel and all the road wheels and everything. Interestingly enough, with this particular one, the actual bottom hull section isn't one piece that you sort of normally get. It's lots of pieces sort of bringing it together to make the bottom hull, which is a little bit different. And as you can see, you know, that would be your bottom hull there all together, and then it's the usual sort of construction of putting all your little bits and bobs on here, so I'm not really going to kind of harp on too much. Road wheels going on, there is bits of photo etch in here as well, but as I say, it's armour, it's just putting on lots of different pieces to the hull. We do then get to the turret. Our main gun is like two different halves put together, so nice seam line needs to be sanded out of that for it to look really nice indeed. There isn't any sort of internal detail with the instructions, and apart from that, yeah, you know, it is pretty straightforward. Looks like a nice, simple, easy build. We've got the infantry here where it gives you all our nice colour call-outs, which is quite good. I might not do these and sort of show you how to do them. Just kind of depends how I feel once I've done the model. And then, as I say, you've got something like 5 different markings. Not many decals to put on here, and I think it's all going to be the same colour anyway, so there's not much difference between different markings, but those are the instructions. They look pretty good actually. Moving along to our first piece, our first main piece, which is the top of the hull section. And hopefully what you can see is, you know, we've got a nice bit of detail going on here, sort of like it's not a smooth surface, but it's that kind of rough surface you get on tanks, like an anti-slip sort of thing going on there. We've got all the weld marks going on along here as well, which is also rather good detail there. So that's the top of the hull. I'm just going to show you sort of like the main pieces. Let's get them out. Here's the turret. Again, we've got that nice sort of ripply sort of surface going on there, which is going to look really good with like washes and filters on there. Looking rather nice and crisp, you know, not lots of nice raised detail. We've got, you know, sort of nuts and bolts going on here. Bottom part of the turret, you know, same thing going on there. But I mean, when we bring these two halves together, you know, we're probably going to want to, well, this is the problem. I mean, with this, it's sort of, when you bring these two halves together, right, because we've got this sort of pattern on the surface, if you were to sort of make this seamless, i.e. come in with some filler, some sanding, you know, basically it's going to sand away this nice surface that's going on here. So I might have a look into how we get round that, which would probably be something like we sand it, well, we fill it, we sand it, we get it nice and seamless, but then we have to go off and make our own kind of rough anti-slip surface on there. So you know, we might have a look at that later. Again, you know, we have all these different pieces that make up the bottom hull. There's literally hardly any detail going on here, so I'm assuming we're going to be putting the detail on there. There is on the bottom of the hull some nice raised bolts there. They do look rather nice. Flash is looking very minimal as well. We've got the front part of our hull section. Again, we've got that nice surface detail going on there, and then we've got like parts of the actual drive wheel going on, and you know, we've got all sorts of bits of detail going on there. Very nice looking. There is, you know, we do have some ejector pin marks. You can just see them in there, little ejector pin marks. They may get covered, so it might not be such a big deal. Got our gun mantlet looking also rather good. Minimal flash, but there is bits of it here and there. And then we have our sort of grills here, air vents for the engine. That's looking, you know, nicely detailed there as well. Bring you in a little bit closer. Yeah, all the detail does seem to be nice and crisp, nice bolts in scale. Not seeing much flash, but there are ejector pin marks. I mean, you got one side and they're ejector pin mark free. You turn it over to the other side and there is ejector pin marks everywhere, but it does look like they are sort of in nice places. There's probably going to be one or two that could be a pain, but we'll work through them as we go along. And then we've just got like bits of detail here. We've got like our MGs going on there, looking very nice there. But as I say, we turn it over and then you can see like the odd little ejector pin mark just here and there. As I say, again with the hatches, you know, if you want to have the hatches open, they do have ejector pin marks on them, which is a little bit of a shame, but you know we have to deal with this in modelling. Now moving along, I mean there is just loads and loads of these road wheels, nothing to write home about. We'll have a closer look during the build, but they do look nice and just like the rest of the build. We have some more duplicate pieces here, you know, again, you know, we'll have a closer look at them. We have our drive wheel section here. This is looking, you know, kind of rather nicely detailed. We've got two sprues the same, and you can just see in there, you know, we've got nice bolts in there and everything, which are going to look really nice when weathered up. And more of the drive wheel going on there, as you can see, looking nice. Two pieces of that the same. And then I'm just going to get out the last couple of little pieces just in here. Again, I don't really want to dwell on the little pieces too much. They, you know, I think you get the idea now. I do like these. I think like water and fuel drum canisters here. You know, they are kind of builds up quite nicely. They do look quite cool. Then we have, I think it's the 50 cal that goes on the top by the looks of it just here. Nice detail there, but I've got something to jazz this up to show you later, and some more just little pieces there as well. Then I'm just going to move along to the tracks. Now we've got like about 6 of these sprues, the same nice metallic tracks going on here, and if you look at the detail, you know, the detail is looking rather nice. It's just going to be such a quite a task to sort of get these good. We do have ejector pin marks underneath, but I do believe these two pieces are going to glue together where the ejector pin marks are, so we should not see them. And if you do it right and glue it right, it should be all nice and moving and all natural and everything. Then we move to the actual 4 infantrymen that you get with this. I'm coming in lots of different pieces, but hopefully, as you can see, you know, they do look rather nicely detailed and some decent miniatures indeed. The faces, they are looking well detailed. You know, once we get some paint on them, they should really look rather nice. And you got like 4 different infantrymen with this all together. So as I say, that does look nice. But then as another little bonus, you do get all these lovely little bit of infantry gear. You know, you got the helmets, Tommy guns, all sorts of like shovels and water canteens, you know, the works, even some nice little grenades there, and they do look nice, crisp, nicely well detailed, actually. So, you know, if you don't do the infantry, I mean, you could put all sorts of this kind of kit just all round the actual Sherman itself. So yeah, I do like that as a nice little bonus. Moving along, we do also have some clear parts. Right, now this sprue here is exactly the same. This greenish kind of sprue here is exactly the same as our clear sprue just here. So they're giving us the option to do, you know, pick either one, which I think is just a waste of money really, because I mean, if you want to paint it and not have it any kind of clear parts, then you just paint it. Yeah, well, there you go. But yeah, they are looking nice sort of crisp, nicely shiny sort of detail going on in there, and that is a nice little bonus, because I do like to have like clear parts for your different windows and stuff that's going to go on this, or periscopes and stuff. Then we have in here, we have our decals. They are your typical Tamiya decals, you know, so you're going to probably have to get out the old Mr. Mark setter and softener, but they do look nicely in registry, but they are quite simple. I mean, you know, there's only a few on there, so they should be quite good. We do have a nice little bit of photo etch that comes with this, which is a nice little touch if you're just building out of the box, but I'm not just building out the box. So then we come to like aftermarket parts, which I have gone off and I have brought the Edards 1/35 scale M4A3 Sherman for Tamiya kit, and it's two nice frets of photo etch. If I just open it up for you and we can have a closer look. And probably have a look at the instructions just to see exactly what's going to be done with this. So maybe we'll have a quick look at the instructions first. Right. As you can see, we're going to be able to do this whole sort of, you know, put these roll these photo etch pieces up to wrap around the MG guns to make them look rather cool. But to be honest with you, from what I've seen in the kit, they just look good as they are anyway. We have some bits and bobs here for the lights. That'll probably look a bit cooler, and it literally is just little things going on here and there and everywhere just to give it a nice little jazz up. There's like the back bin, you know, that should look quite cool having that on there instead of plastic. And then there's sort of like jazzing up your tools and stuff, whether you want to bother with that or not, maybe not. And then we've got sort of like hatch detail, a bit of turret, extra turret detail on top of there. That should probably look nice. Lots of bit of photo etch there. But what's probably going to look also really cool is all this photo etch that goes for, I do believe it is the 50 cal that goes on there. I mean, you've got all your sort of ammunition and all sorts to go on there to really jazz up and make that 50 cal really nice. Well, I think it's a 50 cal anyway. I'll have to look into it, but that is going to look well cool with all that photo etch. So just to have a quick look at the photo etch, let's bring you in. Right, hopefully you can see, yeah, it is looking really nice. That should go on rather nice, and we've got two sheets of it. We've got all our sort of ammunition going on here. That should look also very cool. So nice bit of aftermarket parts there just to give our EZ8 a nice bit of the boost. So really, from what I'm looking at here now, a bit of research on the kit, just to let you know that from Hanance this kit costs £37.99. And also a bit of history about the kit. This kit is actually a, if I'm pronouncing this right, a Tasker kit, and when it comes to Shermans, a Tasker kit is supposed to be the best Sherman you can get in 1/35 scale is the Tasker kits. So what Tamiya's done here is rebox one of the Tasker kits, put their own decals in here, and they've really given us a good product. You know, so we are talking like the best that you can get for a 1/35 scale Sherman. It was about 2006 that Tasker actually new tooled this, so it's not an old kit either. So hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun with this, and you know, have a lot of fun with the photo etch, as well as I want to show you a bit of soldering of photo etch as well, which should be a nice new technique to show you out there. So let's get started with the build. So let's get started with the track links. Let's get this long process done. Basically what you want to do here is we want to just nicely cut them off. So using some nice cutters, half decent ones. I think these are I forgot who they were, but you know, you want to spend maybe like £6 or £10, nice decent set. And what we're just going to do is we're just going to nicely cut into that and give it a little cut. Hopefully, as you can see there, nice simple, nice easy. Right, we don't want to be doing any of this business of you know, not using cutters and sort of twisting it and stuff, because then you have all sorts of marks on there. Then what we can do, what I'm using here is some nice skinny sticks from Flurry Models. You can get them pretty much anywhere, all over the internet. Models are Go, you know, you name it, you know, pretty much everyone does it, or something similar to it, right? And this is like a nice fine grit going on here. So let's just bring you in, because what we've got is we've got these little tabs left over from where we've cut it off the sprue. Now these are going to hinder the track links or any other kind of cutting that we do, cutting off sprues, and it just needs a light little bit of a sand. Right, I'm hardly even pressing on that, and that is gone now, all nice. And again, same here, and that is gone as well. We've got another one just on the top, and then that is gone as well. Right, nice little light sanding. It does really pay to get it done, because as I say, I mean, although, you know, we probably wouldn't notice so much with the tracks, because, you know, we're probably going to put mud on and everything, so we probably won't notice these tabs so much. But really, when it comes to the tracks, when we actually link them all together, you know, these little tabs are going to get in the way and sort of stop it from actually having that nice flow to it. So to get the track links, it is a bit of a timely process, but what we want to do is we start off with this piece here. Right, you should be able to tell the difference. There's two pieces and we've got to glue them together, and you can tell the difference. This is like the bottom part of the track, right? And what we're going to do is we start off, right, the first track link, we don't put one of these top bits on, right? As you can see there, we don't put one of them top bits on, because let's face it, you know, we've got to attach it, bring it together sort of thing. So, you know, you leave that one off for when you bring it together, and then basically, you know, it's quite easy just to see how they just nicely link together. Now on here, well, on this one, let's see how far we can bring you in. Maybe, there we go. You'll see that there is like little sort of bits sticking out just there, right? And that is what's going to sort of create that sort of hinge sort of movement effect. So we want to make sure that those little hinges go on here like so, right? So basically it's probably best to put down this piece first and then put on the rest of our track link, so as, you know, we get them in there, and we can just nicely press this down so that it's in position like so. Then it comes to gluing. We now need to glue our top part of our track link on. The glue that I'm going to be using for this is like a welding type glue. It's the kind of glue that it doesn't actually bond it together, it actually melts this styrene plastic and actually melts the two pieces of plastic so they come together and literally become one. But for this I'm going to be using Hobby Colours, well, it's from Hobby Colours, the Akan range, and it's their Glue Pro. Basically it's like Tamiya Thin Cement and Mr. Cement S. There is a product review on this on the Genesis Models website, so go to the video section, you can see a nice little product review on that, going into a bit more detail. But what we want to do here is we want to get a nice little paintbrush, try and use the same paintbrush for your pot of glue every time. Don't sort of mix it, don't sort of paint with the paintbrush and then, you know, just keep this as the glue paintbrush. And what we do is we dip this in, getting a bit on our paintbrush there. And then what we want to do, we just want to glue this end here. Just put a bit of glue just on there. Now this stuff is going to evaporate a bit quickly, so we want to sort of be quick here, but we don't want to be gluing this end where we've got sort of like a recess in there, because that is where it's going to have that movement. So if we glue that, it's not going to work. So just this end, right, the flat end, and then we can turn that upside down and press it down onto our track link, just like so, and that should glue pretty damn quickly, right, as you can see just there. And we've got this nice movement going on, which is absolutely great when it comes to armoured vehicles. Oh, I've slightly pulled that off. I should have given it a bit more time to dry. 1 second, I'm just putting that in. Right, and maybe, you know, as you go through a couple of track links, sort of pick it up, maybe every 3 track links, and sort of, you know, give it a little bit of a push down and make sure it's staying, and make sure there's still a bit of movement in there. Right, and there it is. So I'll just quickly show you this really fast.